Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Seeds and Structures. So, I'm bringing you this episode from China, Weifang City in Shandong Province, here in China. And of course, we'll be talking Chinese business today in this episode. We'll be quickly extracting a very important happening between a leading AI company in China and a global Fortune 500 company, as we would like to tag them. And as I've always said, you do not necessarily need to be in the conversations as a mergers and acquisition specialist, or you might not even be looking at acquiring an AI company or any form of company, because before you can get into these conversations are actually bound to happen, and they should happen one way or the other. One key thing for us to do as business people, corporate professionals, as well as enthusiasts in the business field, is to pay attention to key happenings and try to understand the trend and the patterns from these happenings. So this episode will be a spin-off of one of the things we discussed in the last episode about how the Chinese government has designed their 5-year plan for the people, and this will equally shape the way business is done, in China and by extension globally. Knowing fully well that China happens to be the second largest global market, is equally critical for business owners to pay key attention. And one of the points I raised in the last episode was to mention key areas or strategic areas that the Chinese government is equally looking at focusing on. One of them is with the use of artificial intelligence, and the advisory given then is that people should focus more on investments, around AI companies, as well as products, AI and robotics rather. Those that might be RPA specialists, robotic process and automation specialists, equally need to pay key attention, to these happenings. And as I mentioned, this episode is a spin-off to that, because today we'll be looking at how the government was able to block a deal between Manus AI and Meta. We know Meta already, the owners of Facebook, Instagram, as the case might be. The plan was for them to acquire Manus AI, a company, an AI company that originated from China, a leading AI company that originated from China, in a $2 billion deal, but this was successfully blocked by the Chinese company. So initially, the company originated or emanated from China, but in preparation to this acquisition bid, they had to relocate some of their key infrastructures from China to Singapore, and they did it sometime around December. Right, and they started full operation in Singapore, because they were actually getting their business investments ready for new investors to come in. But along the line, in April, the National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC of China, had to block the deal, basically, because they cited different concerns. The first was protection of strategic AI and intellectual property. Knowing fully well the origin of the company, allowing this acquisition to happen, to them felt like, this part of the IPs will be lost, right? Because we know the way some of these acquisitions, happen. Sometimes, the company that is giving off or changing, ownership, or getting new ownership or getting new investors or owners in, may need to divulge some sensitive part of their intellectual property. And of course, the government, did not want this to happen. Some of the reasons, according to experts, includes geopolitical retaliation and power play. We always know that okay, it's just like a move when analysts say you are killing the chicken to scare the monkey, right? That's what actually happened, because geopolitical tensions have grown over the past, few months in the year 2026, with different happenings around, the globe. There is speculations and counter speculations, about the real intent, of superpowers, like the US, and why other countries are equally trying to put in place countermeasure to stop whatever might be going on. I don't want to go deep into some of those issues, but I mean, as I've always remarked, geopolitics plays a critical role in global international business, and the world economy. Also, closing the loophole in Singapore. So we understand that some countries can serve as, tax havens or provide country-specific advantages for other firms to be in. And Singapore is one of those countries that can give some form of advantages, to venture capitalists or private equity firms, or startup companies operating, from that region. There are certain loopholes, regulatory loopholes, that these companies might not be able to outscale, overcome easily if they remain in their originating country. But being in Singapore, might equally help them block some of those restrictions, right? And that's part of this why this deal, was held. So for investors, if this deal has gone through, it could have been a global shift in the AI market, meaning Meta has different products, and on every product there are different layers of artificial intelligence interfaces on them. This could have helped Meta quickly metamorphose into something bigger, by layering the structures properly, if this deal has gone through. Then also for Manus, this would have served as a strong financial backbone for them to equally expand, as well as do the other things they have in their playbook, right? Scale up, as they call it, right? For Meta, this could have equally positioned them, to become one of the biggest cloud-based virtual machines, globally, knowing WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram run on this service or this parent company. This would have been an avenue for them to quickly scale up and make automation the order of the day in every product service, every product or service offerings they're coming up with. Of course, part of this disadvantages would or might include geopolitical fallouts for tech startups, right? Meaning, as I've mentioned before, the role of geopolitics in determining how business is done is a big would have been a big issue, as well as severe regulatory and compliance costs for Meta, right? Because if the deal has gone through, it would have been lawsuit upon lawsuit, legal battles upon legal battles.
No, God, please, no.
Because the government on the one side would not want to lose one of our indigenous companies that they've supported to a US company, and that would have spelt doom for the future of Manus, because countless number of court cases would definitely emanate from this. As well, for the ecosystem, for the AI ecosystem in China too, this would have been a big loss to them, because how they premier homegrown brilliant engineering, and at the end of the day you are what to say, capital flight and brain drain. This would have equally sent shockwaves across the AI space in China. And the way it is, as I always mention on this channel, collaboration is a key thing or a big thing that will be happening in global industries around the world, because we have different companies doing or offering similar products or services to the same customers. So the next 5 to 10 years, as I've always remarked, we'll be seeing with major collaborations, mergers and acquisitions happening in different industries. So this is a good opportunity for professionals and as well as small businesses to begin to plug in and collaborate as much as they can. All right, that will be all we'll take for this episode. Thank you for taking our time to listen to us. If this has interested you or has inspired you in any way, do well to hit the like button, follow us and subscribe to our channel, and you'll be the first to know when we have new updates. Till I come your way in another episode, Thanks for joining. Stay chilled.